What is going on, everybody? I only do that. I didn't feel that one. Didn't feel that one.
There's no energy.
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video on MVP Sports. My name is Jake Neverman, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Dave, this is the final stretch. We're in the final two divisions of the Western Conference. In this video, we are doing the Pacific Division. It is basically 4 teams and then one team. That's basically how it's going to be going. It's mean, but it's the truth because one team's coached by Luke Walton. We'll get into all that. Before we get into that, check below down in the description. Check out our Patreon along with our channel memberships for access to videos a week earlier than they will be on YouTube all season long. Dave and I will be pumping out content from now till basically the middle of summer 2022.
Yeah, I was just saying,
and then the draft happens.
June.
We literally, content has been a little bit slow because we take a break because we're usually content all the way up from the beginning of the season to the draft. So then we kind of we need a breather from NBA for a little bit, but we're back. And also check down below our Discord, free to join. You can talk to us all about whatever sport you want, NBA, NFL. If you're into soccer, if you're into MMA, we got channels for everything there. Also, if you do join the Patreon and you're in our Discord, you can get into our watch longs, which will be going on all season long. We had a couple for the preseason already. Dave joined. Dave is a rare occurrence inside of the watch alongs. So when Dave's in there,
Bulls are exciting. I'm gonna be in there more often. Let's put it that way.
Before we get into the Pacific Division, did you see the analytical predictions for the? I think it was called 5630 or whatever it is. There.
Yeah, I know the group.
They were pretty well on last year with their predictions, with the teams they had overachieving and underachieving. The Bulls were 10th in their predictions today that came out. Then any words on that before we get into the not long?
That's not bad. I still think we're underrated by a lot of people though. Yeah. Again, analytics and DeMar DeRozan don't go together.
Exactly.
So I understand why we're not higher.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's get into the Pacific Division in the Western Conference. We are going to start out with that one other team. We're going to start out with the Sacramento Kings. Interesting. Before we get into their moves, that they kept Luke Walton on, which was kind of, we all thought that he was going to be gone.
I've been thinking he should be gone for years, though. Jake. That's the problem.
It is Scott Brooks. He is now Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks, we thought was going to be gone for so long, and now he is gone, and now we're focusing our mood onto Luke Walton.
It was Jim Boyle and Scott Brooks, and take that for data. We're the worst coaches, head coaches in the NBA,
and thugs. You gotta give the guy, the Cleveland coach. What was his name? Coach Michigan.
Boeheim. Nope.
No. Jim,
why am I not? I know. I'm sorry. My brain is going and searching. I know. I should know that answer because I mocked. What's up?
Was it Beeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Beeline. Yeah, that's so funny. Came into my mind.
I mocked Hiring so much.
Yes, and we were pretty right. Getting into what they did. They lost in the offseason. They traded DeLon Wright to the Atlanta Hawks, and Hassan Whiteside went to the Utah Jazz. In free agency, they drafted Davion Mitchell, number 9, and Neemias Queta, shout out Ricky, number 39 overall. In free agency, they re-signed Mo Harkless, re-signed Rajon Holmes, a little bit surprising one there, and they re-signed Terence Davis.
Why is that a surprise?
We'll get into it in a second.
Okay.
Terence Davis re-signed, Tristan Thompson acquired in a trade. The reason that I think Rajon Holmes was a little bit surprising is we thought that somebody else was going to offer him money and he would leave Sacramento.
True.
But nobody really ended, because we had Charlotte was the team that we all had. We were like, this is a plug and play fit in Charlotte, and it just never happened. So I think it's a huge win for them to get him back because he was one of their best players last year. And then you couple that with Davion Mitchell in the draft, who I was lower on than most people. I think you were right in the consensus with him. I think he's a fine player. He's going to fit in fine with this team. Now you look at their roster, Fox, Halliburton, and Mitchell, with guys like Harrison Barnes and Rajon Holmes. It's getting there. It's getting there, the roster. What? And Buddy Hield.
Bagley.
Oh.
Marvin Bagley.
He's not going to, I don't have faith in him to turn around until he gets out of Sacramento.
Number 2 overall pick, Marvin Bagley.
That's great. Darko Milicic was a what number overall pick? Yeah.
Point being, Marvin Bagley, this is the year, baby. If you're a Marvin Bagley fan,
he gets traded to Philly, correct? Yeah, you're right.
Marvin Bagley is going to have a year this year. That's what I feel about this team. Their 3 young guards are insane. I mean, Fox he took a big step and I think not a lot of people notice because it's the Kings. I expect to see him continue to play extremely well. I think that Halliburton really was just a gift last year in the draft.
Twitter, that's NBA GMs just overthinking things again. Just like Jared Butler. You'll see him in a different video. Keep bringing up that name.
Yes. But no, like I love the ability they have to go with their 3 guards in Davion, Tyrese, and Fox. I think all 3 of them, when needed, can play really good defense. Davion has been an absolute hound, absolutely everywhere attacking the ball. I mean, it's awesome to watch because so many people have questions about him. Personally, I know you and I have questions on the offensive side as far as his consistency, his 3-point shot. But I think defensively, he's already a top-level defender in the NBA at the guard position. So I look at him to literally step in day one, be on the court, and be helping this team win games. But yeah, after you get past those 3, it's not really...
No, Rajon Holmes. Throw in Rajon Holmes and Buddy Hield.
Rajon Holmes.
And Buddy Hield. Respect Buddy Hield. One of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Just he does not fit in this team is the problem. Because you have your 3 guards. Darren Fox last year, first we'll start with him. He is a star. And I know he's not going to get that recognition because he plays in Sacramento. He had, again, you don't quote me on this because I'm ballparking this. He had one of, if not the best guard at the rim finishing percentages in NBA history last year. He was something like 76% when he got to the rim he finished. His driving game is insane. His jump shot is growing year after year after year. Tyrese Halliburton, everybody had him pegged as a top 6-7 prospect, if not top 5, and he fell to them at 11, I believe it was. It was 11 or 13. It was one of the two. Whatever it was dumb that he fell out of the top 10. It was just, again, NBA GMs overthinking things, which they do a lot. Buddy Hield on this team. Again, this is where the question mark comes in. You have those 3. Now, is the long-term plan really to keep those 3 all together? Is it to keep the best 2 and trade 1? Is it to keep like whatever 2 of them and get value for another one and get another wing? Because, like, in theory, this lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, and Rajon Holmes should win games. That lineup should win games. Now, that probably won't be their starting lineup because you'll see Buddy Hield probably thrown in there because, he complains when he gets benched. Marvin Bagley? Yeah, I almost said Marcus Bagley. Marvin Bagley.
Marcus is a little brother.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was thinking of that. I think I was reading something about him. But they go out and they get guys like Tristan Thompson. They have Alex Len on their bench. Like, it just seems... One, they do have a vision, which they didn't have under Vlade Divac. Vlade Divac for so many years just kind of like, I'm not taking Luka. I'm taking Marvin Bagley. It's just what it was in that draft. The problem still stands with this team is Luke Walton's their head coach, and he's strictly just not good enough. I just stay with that.
Not good enough is underselling.
Yes.
The idiocracy that is Luke Walton. Yeah. This is someone who has taken half a season of being a babysitter for 3 of the best players in NBA history.
Yep.
And turned it into a 6-year coaching career now.
Yeah.
I want to applaud this man.
And he's never left the state of California. And he's never left the state of California. So he's just living large.
Honestly, it is. We should be like, NBA fans should be like, this is a fucking legend right now.
Yeah.
Not because he has any talent, not because he knows the game of basketball, because he doesn't, but because he scammed the fucking owners into thinking that he could be a coach. Like, the GMs of the league thought, he's a Walton. We all love listening to his father talk about the game of basketball or whatever the fuck else he wants to talk about, all his high-ish balls on commentary. Like, I love what he's done. I just don't respect, the fact that he's kept his job, because when you have no results year over year over year over year over year over year, and you keep getting opportunities, I get very unhappy. I'm more unhappy because the guy they replaced for him was Dave Yeager, who is a very good coach, who came into his role in Sacramento and was like, so we've got the fastest guard in the NBA since John Wall, and we've got a dead-eye 3-point shooter. We've got an athletic big. We're going to run up-tempo. We're going to run the floor. We're going to play with pace. We're going to become one of the fastest-paced offenses in the NBA. We're going to get wide-open threes because we're always pushing, so trailing threes are going to be there. Like, he had a plan of attack. He knew how to do everything that worked with the people on his roster. And I know this is years ago now because it's just, Dave, stuck in my fucking head.
Where is Dave Yeager?
Shut up. I know. Good for you. But the point is, he had a plan with the roster, the talent in front of him. He executed. They were a good team. He's an asshole, but he's a good coach.
He's an asshole, but he knows how to get over.
Yep.
Him and Doc Rivers on the same cast. I just gotta say, two
That's
assholes in one bunch is just hilarious. You go. Sorry.
My point is, Luke Walton doesn't know how to use the talent in front of him. He didn't in LA. He doesn't here. And I think that he literally has his replacement on the bench staff for him already. So it's just a matter of time now.
Yeah.
I think this is last year's head coach because I don't think this is a team that is going to be a playoff team.
We thought that.
I think this is a. I know we did, but now
my last question with them before we get into players is:
sure.
Any chance they get into the play-in? Any chance they could sneak in?
No.
Now his name's going to get brought up.
I hate saying it because I've been riding the Kings for 3 years. But the answer is no this year.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
If they do make a Ben Simmons trade, which is they've been one of the teams that's been in constant contact, does that change anything? Does De'Aaron and Ben work, do you think? The amount
I don't know.
The amount of up-tempo, I was going to say, like, oh my God.
Right, they could play quick if Luke allowed it.
Yes, exactly.
But at the same time, what are they giving up, and will they have enough floor spacing left over after that to work around Ben?
Yep.
Ben
would have to play the 5, right? He has to.
Will Ben play the 5 is the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ben has to.
From a coaching standpoint, Ben has to play the 5.
Yeah, because him and Holmes can't play.
On that roster.
Him and Holmes can't play.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
will Ben play the 5? He'll be in California. Hey, you know that he said he's open to a trade to Sacramento as if he has a no trade clause or something like that, as if he could pick where he gets to go. Different. One player to buy, one player to sell. I assume your player to buy is going to be Marvin Bagley because that is the guy you just keep harping on.
No.
What?
No.
You just talked him up at the start of the segment. Now you're not going to buy him?
I think he's going to be a good back. I think he's going to be a good bench backup big for the Kings this year.
A lot of B's.
I know. I really went on
bench backup big.
Yeah.
Bagley.
Yep. I will go with Halliburton though. I've loved the kid. I mean, he was one of my favorite prospects. I just think his role is gonna keep expanding and keep getting bigger. So I'm super excited about watching this team and seeing how they're gonna play with those multiple guard lineups. Will they go 3-guard heavy, as we've seen from other coaches around the league, really leaning into the talent they have? Or are they going to hamstring themselves and play with 2 guards on the floor and have like these bench tandem kind of swap outs, like hockey switches almost, with their guards? I don't know. I'm trying to keep people happy doing that, you know?
Yeah.
I'd prefer going 3, but I have my concerns around that. But yeah, Halliburton's the guy I'm watching. I think he's proven it. The guy I'm not excited about this year on this team, my cell.
Luke Walton.
There's no one like.
There definitely is some people.
It's Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
I'm selling him because he shouldn't be on the team anymore.
Exactly.
The fact that they almost had a deal done last year, I feel like it was just a matter of time thing. So I think that by Christmas, hopefully he will be okay. Trade deadline, he'll be on a new team and he'll be happier.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd probably sell Buddy or Luke, whichever one you want to take.
If I could choose the coach, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I've chosen the coach before in these videos. So if I have to buy, I'll go a little bit deeper. I think they're going to be looking for that 4th guard to kind of fill out rotation minutes. And I like because they have 3. They need a 4th for the regular season. I like Terence Davis on this team. I think Terence Davis was a little underrated pickup, and he played well in stretches. In stretches in Toronto, he played it well. I think he could pick up some rotation minutes and be a solid bench player for them. There's not many people to hate on this team, but there's going to be a lot of minutes open up, especially when Buddy Hield's... The reason I say they're going to try to find a 4th guard is I assume Buddy Hield's going to be gone by the trade deadline. Okay. But I've thought that for the last couple of years, and he keeps staying and keeps being around. So I'll buy Terence Davis. I'll sell Luke Walton because I've called Luke Walton a bum for a long time, and I'll just keep doing it because, it's what he is. The next team in the Pacific Division is the defending Western Conference champions. Mickey Mouse Western Conference champions, Phoenix Suns. I have to throw it out there. Ricky would be mad at me if I didn't. The Phoenix Suns, no draft picks for this. Oh, I should start with their loss. They lost lost Javon Carter. They traded him to the Brooklyn Nets, and Torrey Craig to the Denver Nuggets. No draft picks for them. In free agency, they re-signed Campaign. They re-signed Chris Paul. They signed JaVale McGee, re-signed Abdel Nader, and signed Elfrid Payton. And also, in a trade, they acquired Landry. Shim it. There you go. That's what the Sixers announcer used to do every time he made a basket.
Really?
Yeah, he's
like the remix.
No, he would do it. He'd go shim it. I can't believe they didn't. How has he not been called Sham Wow ever. Like I have not heard that nickname.
Trademark?
Maybe,
I feel like that's a trademark thing.
maybe.
It's
Like
like
even
LeBron can't have Taco Tuesdays, you know.
yeah, trying to patent Taco Tuesdays.
It's a
Yikes.
good one.
So the Suns. The Suns are interesting. They're probably again the next 4 teams we're going to talk about in this.
I'm sorry. Did you mention the fact that, well, not technically gone, he is not going to play in Dario Saric?
Correct, torn ACL.
Yeah.
Toward in the finals, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, first
during
game.
playoffs.
I think it was first game in the finals he tore it. Yeah. So Frank the Tank might get some minutes here. JaVale McGee will probably get the minutes because they signed him for his veteran leadership after he got the gold medal with Team USA. So funny.
Yeah.
I think the place to lead off with this team is it a realistic expectation? Because we're going to talk about this with the next 4 teams in this division. Is it the expectation they should be back in the finals again? Because it's a little bit I'm not sure. I will not have them in the finals. I would assume you won't either. I
won't.
Is it an expectation they can get back to the finals, or are they a team that's just trying to get to the conference championship?
Honestly, they have every ability to get back to the finals. I just don't expect them to. I don't think it's a make or break. Like, conference championship would be fine. They just got extremely lucky at the right time during the playoffs, and I hate, like, I don't want to be like a downer and be like, you didn't deserve it. They deserve their wins. They got their wins. They won the games they needed to win in front of them. So just the fact that they went up against teams who were missing players happened to help them a lot. I still think they're a very good team. I still think Chris Paul's an awesome leader on the court, but I just don't know that this team necessarily has the firepower unless this is going to sound bad this year, unless they find a way to get DeAndre Ayton more involved offensively.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to be able to compete for a championship, because he is the key to their success at this point in time.
Yeah.
And the fact that the front office is playing this game of chicken with him over a contract,
that's where that's where we're gonna lead in the next. The big question that with this team, besides their expectations, is what is going to happen with DeAndre Ayton? Like, what is going to happen? What do you think? Yeah.
Ayton and Mikhail?
I think okay. Do you think they're holding off on a DeAndre Ayton max because they know what they're going to have to pay Mikhail? Now, first of all, they should just pay both of them. It's not the issue.
This is a no-brainer.
But
what other team gets a top pick in the fucking draft and refuses to pay him after he performs?
Yeah.
This isn't an injury thing. This isn't a health thing. This is the performances there on the court. He's a very talented player who we're just seeing scratch the surface of what he can fucking do. He's an athletic big who can potentially stretch the floor going forward. His defense, his effort, everything has gotten better since he's gotten to the NBA. Where's the fucking red flags? What am I missing out here?
Yeah, listen, I'm not the biggest DeAndre Ayton fan, but to not give him a max contract after what, even if it was somewhat inconsistent and he disappeared in games, I think that somewhat comes down to coaching at the end of the day, because I mean, you have to game plan around one of your biggest mismatches in the finals, and Brook Lopez and DeAndre Ayton was that, and they just never seemed to capitalize on it. Brook Lopez balled out because it just seemed like, well, first of all, I think Monty got out-coached in the finals, which is weird to say because Bud, after all the things that happened with him the prior years, kind of proved that wrong. This team, I know that I know they made the finals, and again, you said you don't want to say it was undeserved. I don't think it's undeserved either, because I think every year there's injuries. Every year there's
you could every team you could asterisk.
You could point, yeah, exactly. Every finals you could look back to and be like, yeah, they only got there because that person got hurt, whatever. So besides the 2011 when Jason Terry outplayed LeBron, but I just gotta throw that out there because that wasn't Mickey Mouse. That was just the jet taking off, The Suns, they're gonna need some luck on their side to get to the finals. And Chris Paul is always going to be a question mark. I know that he had a great run last year and he looked great. But again, he got hurt. And that was another big reason why they lost in the finals, because he was clearly not 100%. His shoulder was clearly bothering him. He didn't have full range of motion. It just, I like this team a lot. It just, Devin Booker's going to have to take a massive step if they want to. And he did last year in the playoffs, but he's going to have to take another one. He's borderline, all-star. He's an all-star. He should be an all-star every year. He's borderlining pushing towards that star. They really need a superstar on this team to take over when Chris Paul goes down like that. Devin Booker has to be that guy, I think, because DeAndre Ayton's not close to that. Do you see Devin Booker is the X factor?
Ball handler. That's the thing, is you need to have a ball handler on the floor, and the fact that they got as lucky as they did with Campaign discovering his effort for the game again after being dropped out of the league basically. they got put into a really good situation where he just played out on the court, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, you can't expect him to be the guy who's going to lift you to a finals win.
Yeah,
So no, it's Booker ball in his hands. I mean, he's got to make it happen for the team. And the nice thing is because of the Suns' incompetence in previous years, he's got a lot of ball handling experience. He's got a lot of lead guard experience. He was their point guard for large spans of time early in his career because they literally didn't fucking put one next to him. So like he has that ability, and I think he's a step ahead of the game as far as, if they need to run a lineup with him being the guy. So that's fine. But I agree. It's just that they've got a few question marks, and then everything else is just guys need to take the next step. That's it's simple as that.
It is. I think we see this I think they had a very good offseason. I don't think they really could have done anything different. Getting Chris Paul back was the big thing. That is making sure he was still on this team. I didn't think he was really ever going to leave. We talked about it, but I thought he was staying the entire time as long as they forked up the money. But the question is to be asked, going forward, if you're paying Chris Paul and letting DeAndre Ayton walk and playing hassle with him, is it really worth it for the long-term psyche of this team? I know that Chris Paul is great, but he's 38, 37.
37.
He's very old, and he's getting old, and he's still going to be a superb player because his play style doesn't need to play quick. He doesn't need to play. He's just a floor general and probably the best in the NBA at what he does. This year, and we'll talk about them coming up, the Warriors getting Clay back, the Lakers reloading how they do. If Kawhi comes back for the Clippers, did the Jazz get somebody taking that next step? There's just a lot of teams in the West that are good again, and last year it seems like every time that a chip fell, it fell in the direction of the Suns. You know what I mean? They got every...
I mean, they did lose Chris Paul for a couple games.
Yeah, no, until the end. I should say until the end.
You did have Dario with the injury, and I think, you could point some fingers at... I don't know, it's not unlucky, but the fact that Jalen Smith had a very rough rookie year, put it nicely.
He didn't play, so I mean, it was
very rough.
Yeah, I had one of my... I have a Suns friend who roots for the Suns, and he was like, Ben Simmons is available? What do they want? Jalen Smith and Cam Johnson? Let's get that train rolling. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. No. Just stop. I don't even
Former lottery pick, Jalen Smith?
Yeah, you can give me the guy that we traded that we should have never traded.
You wish.
Yeah, that's what happens when you make Brett Brown your your GM and head coach for an offseason. Just great.
I mean, look, how could they know that the kid who grew up in Philly, his mom's on the team as a member of the org, he played in Philly in college intentionally, stayed in the area. How would you know that he's going to be a good player?
I would say this.
There's no way to scout that player. There's just not any way to know Mikhail Bridges would be good at basketball.
I think the last player to talk about on this team is Mikael Bridges, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about him taking the ball handling step. Everything is there. Yeah. Everything looks to be there. Now, can he take more of a ball handling role on this season? If he does that, this team catapults. Because you would have 3 deadly ball handlers. Mikael Bridges, we saw from time to time in the playoffs and during the regular season. He could use his dribble drive game. Now, can he use it to make others better and use it consistently? That's the main question with him.
Yeah, I mean, he has elite measurables. He's so good on the perimeter. And he's a smart player, but it's almost to his detriment at times because I feel like he doesn't have the green light in his head to take the shots that he can cleanly get off. And I think that he's a better shooter than, he's showing, which is crazy to say because he's already efficient. But I just think that you're right. He's the wing prospect that everybody's looking for, and they've got him. And he's just, it seems like they're keeping him in the 3-and-D mold still. It's dude, you are so much better than just a 3-and-D player at this point. You need to expand out your role.
I don't want to say they're holding him back, but they're somewhat holding him back because it seems like if they could integrate him more into their offense and letting him use his ball handling ability, it'd be great. I called him during the draft. I called him the literal Klay Thompson 2.0. Obviously, you're not going to be the shooting-wise Klay is because Klay is a freak. He's the second greatest shooter of all time. But, you could see it coming out of college. He's literally a 3-and-D player who could grow into more. He walked into the NBA players and an elite 3-and-D player. Dave, one player you're high on or to buy on this team and one player to sell on this team. I'll go first. You went first last time. I'll go first. I'll buy Mikael Bridges. I'll always stick by my Philly guy. Love me some Mikael Bridges. Selling, I think I'll sell Campaign because I think Campaign had a great postseason. I don't think he's going to do that over another 82-game stretch and a playoff stretch. I think he could be good still. I don't think he'll be as good as he was.
You took mine. You took my sell on. I agree with you though. I'm buying Jalen Smith actually.
Okay.
I think this is a big bounce back year for him. He had the green light in summer league. He clearly got the message was we need you to prove your spot on the team before we're just writing you off by the like literally 1 year after your draft. Like we're done with you almost moment. So I think that he's gonna step up big. Like Jay Crowder was so fucking good for so long for this team. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe his stretch of games last year where he was just either knocking down shots left and right or just playing the most locked in defense on the wing in the entire West. It was insane what he was able to do. So, I mean, the opportunities will be there off the bench because of Dario's injury, but like Jalen Smith really going to prove something to me this year.
All right.
That's what I feel. I'm not giving up on him.
Yeah, I would say you won't die on that hill because you loved him in the draft.
I stood up for him. I stood up for him on draft night when everybody's clowning the Suns. I was like, I don't agree with the pick, but I can see why we got here.
It's fair. Next team we're going to move into is the Golden State Warriors. They lost in the offseason Eric Pascal trade to the Utah Jazz. In free agency, Kent Bazemore signed with the LA Lakers, and Kelly Oubre Jr. signed with the Charlotte Hornets. In the draft, they drafted Bucket, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses and Moses Moody. In free agency, they signed Otto Porter Jr. or the corpse of Otto Porter Jr. Nemanja, I'm kidding.
He's rejuvenated.
I know. I wanted him, so I can't say that. He was. Respect. Right? Wow. That's weird because I just had a whole discussion. Nemanja Bjelica, Andre Iguodala, and Chris Chiozza, and nothing in trade. So it seems if the Warriors reloaded their bench a little bit, and they're getting Klay Thompson back this year at some point. We're not exactly sure when. We've heard from David Aldridge.
Christmas-ish?
Yeah, we heard from David Aldridge that he was ready to go. Then training camp came around. He wasn't doing contact. Now we're hearing December, January is what last thing that I heard Bob Myers say.
I mean, shit, Klay was ready to get back on the court again with like no ACL and keep playing the rest of the game.
He shot the free throws.
It doesn't shock me that the man would be like, I'm ready to go.
He was waving off the sub when he tore his ACL. I'm like, that's
he's sitting there jumping on the sidelines, and they're like trying to walk him back to the locker room. He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm good to go."
Yeah, I tore my ACL. I'm good.
Don't worry. Adrenaline's a hell of a drug.
If he doesn't tear his ACL, they still might win the finals against Toronto. That is crazy. Yeah. I guess again for this division, the Golden State Warriors are a team that's trying to get to the finals, right? That is the goal this year. Like, and I guess we'll start with the youth. Moses Moody seems like a stereotypical, he's going to plug and play player for this team. He's going to be great off the bench. The one that I have to question is Kuminga. Do you think he has an impact right away off the bench, or do they play him here and there minute spots in games, but doesn't actually have a set rotation role to start the year?
So what's interesting is so far, neither one of them has looked extremely good.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, like neither one's looked great for them out the gates. And again, this is preseason, summer league, asterisk.
Unless you're the Bulls.
Unless you're the Bulls and we're legit. We didn't beat a team by 70 though, so I mean,
I was gonna say, so you guys are just dead. You didn't beat a team by 70.
Yeah.
But now the Hornets are quitting. You see in our Discord? Shout out to our Discord. They're quitting now, man. Sorry.
Quitting on games. They did it last year too. Just more proof. No. I don't know. Yes, Moody should be the player who gets minutes more easily fits into the rotation on the bench.
Yes.
For like their second/third stringers. Clean up minutes at the end of a game. Yes, he should. But I have a feeling like Kuminga is going to find his minutes. He seems like he's all out when he's on the court. Like he doesn't have like a relax mode almost. Like he's just all in when he's on the court. He's going to play full speed. So I think that energy, that kind of play style really go well with what they're trying to do with that bench unit. So I don't think either one of them is going to play a large role throughout the year. But both have upside. Put that way. Like, here's the thing. Moody's like a bonus pick at this point because you already have Wiggins. You already have OPJ. Yes. You already have Jordan Poole. You already have Andre Iguodala. Like,
but is Iggy going to play right away? Because, like, is he going to play throughout the season? Because he was shaky in Miami.
I think he's there for his leadership, but I think that you'll bust him out for a couple minutes here and there, and I think he's still got something to his game. I mean, you're going to give Moody minutes during the regular season because it doesn't matter, essentially. Your goal is just to make it to the playoffs with this roster, and I 100% think that they are talented enough to do so. So, yeah, I'd say out of their young guys, like, Yeah, Moody and Kuminga are both going to get a handful of minutes here and there, but Moody's the plug and play, as you stated. Kuminga, I just think the upside's just, I want to see him get like free run with like third string quote unquote.
And we saw the two guys come out, obviously Toscano Anderson and Jordan Poole last year. Like Jordan Poole was a stud for stretches last year.
All it took was send his ass down to the G League for a little bit.
And he learned.
He got to shoot, and then all of a sudden, can't fucking miss.
Yeah. One thing I love the signing. I don't think he'll actually play, but Gary Payton II, loved him in college and loved him playing throughout stretches in the NBA. Probably won't play, but we'll see him sometimes when people miss games because that'll happen.
Yeah. Cool story.
Big story for this team is that Andrew Wiggins did get vaccinated, so they will have him for throughout the season for every game.
As we know, he doesn't miss games.
That is, yeah. Wait, yeah.
What? He literally doesn't.
Oh, okay, I thought you said the other way. I was like, I thought.
No. Like he literally is one of the healthiest players in NBA.
Knock on wood.
It's insane. He does not miss games.
No,
I'm not doing it because if he gets hurt, if he gets sick, he's gonna blame the fucking vaccine, and I just will hate the man. I will just straight up hate him for it.
Yeah,
the excuse is built in.
Yeah, he found the first shot that he didn't want to take. Yeah, I think this roster is very interesting. Guys like Damian Lee, Toscano Anderson, Jordan Poole, Moody, Iggy, Kuminga. Like there is the talent there. Who's going to get the consistent rotation minutes can be a question, and who's going to lead the bench unit consistently is going to be my main question. Because is it going to be Draymond at times? I assume Steph will be running with bench units. I assume. But when Draymond and Steph are out, who is going to be the primary ball handler for this team?
Yeah, I mean they basically have to balance the two of them. I would say that the only other guy capable is Jordan Poole, and I know he's more of a shooting guard.
No, he is. He did it last year.
He's handled the responsibility. Yeah, and I think he will again. So I would say they're likely just going to keep it so either Draymond or Steph is on the court at all times, as you kind of alluded to there. But I would say their next best option for ball handling duties is definitely Jordan Poole. So I'm excited though because this is like the modern team that they're trying to do is like, hey, we've got great spacing, we've got great wing defense, we've got Draymond Green is our defensive anchor. The biggest question though is just staring everybody in the face, and it's number 2 overall pick from last year. Number 2 is not a great number in the last couple years.
Number 2 is not always the best, but you know what? It is the best when John Morant went to because he's the best player in that draft. Did I say that?
Right. He's also the player who doesn't weigh 340 pounds.
Yes. James Wiseman and Kuminga playing together, I would assume, is their front court off the bench. I would assume. No? Do you think Wiseman starts?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, I was going to say that. I don't think he does either.
Wiseman starts. No.
I don't think either. So then him and Kuminga are going to have to play together at some point if they're going to both come off the bench. I think I was a big believer in James Wiseman. I still am. The talent is there. It is just putting it together for consistent stretches. And this is going to be a little bit tough for him, I think, because you're playing on a contending team that's going to try to make the finals. He's going to have to play big minutes. His offensive shot selection last year, yikes, because that his shot selection was atrocious. Not at times, all the time.
All the time. Yeah, and I would agree.
It just defensively, I think he can be a monster when he's locked in. Again, from time to time, I feel like he was zoned out of games at times last year, especially with some of the shots he took, with some of the lapses on defense. Like, I'm just not sure if it's fully there, the commitment yet, because last year they weren't supposed to be that great. I hope, similar to DeAndre Ayton last year, that once you get on a contending team, like this Warriors team will be this year, that a switch flips. You know what I mean? Like, it flips and he starts giving effort the entire time. Because if they are contending in big games and he's not showing 100% effort, Draymond is going to call that out so quickly. I think Draymond is one of the best veterans to have for a young guy like Wiseman. And, I think we get on young guys so much right away that if you're a top pick and you're not performing right away, like we talked about with RJ Barrett, like RJ Barrett has been good, but he was the number 3 overall pick and he's supposed to be the savior of New York. Like, he needs to take that next step now. I think people have this similar feel with Wiseman, but you can see throughout the year he grew more comfortable into the game, and he slowly towards the end started to look better. It just putting it together consistently and putting an offensive game that makes sense together. If you know what I mean, like him and Draymond need to work together they need to learn to work together if that is going to be successful, because that is who he's going to have to play next to on this team. Also, if they are contending down the stretch, is there a chance that a guy like Wiseman and Kuminga get moved, and they go for a more win now asset?
I don't think we're looking at Wiseman being moved necessarily. And I know it's all just media talk and saying the right answer at the right time, but they still seem very positive on Wiseman.
Yeah.
Someone who literally had very little basketball IQ because guess what? He played 3 games in college and that was it.
Yeah.
Like he didn't need to learn the game of basketball because he's just bigger, faster, stronger than everybody he's ever played against.
Yep.
This was the first reality check last year where it was like, okay, I can't get away with not knowing where I need to be on the court at all times. I can't get away with not knowing the defensive sets and assignments. Like, you saw it on the court. Draymond was fucking screaming at this kid literally direction by direction. You could hear the calls on what he should be doing at all times. It was, like you said, Draymond's a good mentor to have as far as learning the game.
Yeah.
Not many better basketball minds than him, even if he is a dirty player. Like, you got to give him credit. He knows the fucking game.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is, Wiseman, to his credit, if he was on a shitty team, he would be putting up, 18 and 9 a night, and no one would ask the question. He'd look like Ja again,
I was gonna say
Ja, as in
Jahlil
Okafor.
I was literally gonna say the same thing.
Numbers.
He beat Jahlil Okafor rookie year when they stuck him next to Nerlens Noel, and he's like, "I'm just gonna put up 18 and 10." Like that's what he did. Yeah.
He easily could have, but this was a team with a great head coach and a great roster. Even though they were hurt, the plan was still, we're not going to recreate ourselves for you because we've got the recipe to success. We just have to be patient.
Yeah, and I think again, we'll get into buying and selling way after this, but I think the Warriors have been one of the best player development teams for the last decade. Basically, I think they've earned people's trust and how they're going to develop James Wiseman. So I think just give it some time. Dave, buy one and sell one. Who you going with for the Golden State Warriors?
A lot of people are picking Jordan Poole as their most improved player of the year. They think that with Clay's injury and his timeline, Jordan's going to carry a large share of the offensive load going into this season and probably the first couple of months.
Yeah.
I would say it's hard. I know you wanted to go there. I would say it's hard not to pick him. He's just the most intriguing player. But I'm going to go the opposite way and just go with, I'll take Otto Porter for a bounce back here. He's going to be healthy for once. First time in 3 years. He might play a whole season. I'm excited for that. I think that this is a team literally like he's back into what he's comfortable in. That people were angry that he didn't want to be a better player. Like Otto Porter is like the case study for what not to do with Mikhail Bridges. We just got done talking about Mikhail being more than a 3-and-D player. And like you look at Washington and Otto Porter Jr. and what he was supposed to be, and then what he actually is. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's the other side of that.
I had him as the best player in the draft in that year. So not like it was a studded draft that year. So I think
no, it wasn't. But
that was the Anthony Bennett year, wasn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony Bennett, Victor Oladipo. Yeah. So he's up there for best player in that draft. So Oladipo keeps getting hurt.
Oh, yeah.
No, there was a guy named Giannis in that class. Yeah, there was a guy named Giannis in that class.
Slight issue there. Yeah. MVP.
The guy who's going to win another MVP this year. Giannis, yeah.
He's probably pretty far ahead. Point being, Otto Porter, incredibly talented wing, but the expectation was always higher than what his actual role was. So I think that you're putting him in the exact position to succeed again. And I think we're going to see him shine as a defender, as a 3-point floor spacer, and a role player who really will just kind of fit perfectly for what they're looking for. I expect him to have a great year. I'm going to sell on
Iggy. Come on, it's Iggy. It's Iggy. It's Iggy.
Or
would you sell Wiseman?
I don't want to sell Wiseman's the problem. I don't. I'll sell on Nemanja purely because I don't think he has it anymore.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna buy.
Like, he's a floor spacer, cool, but like he can't defend for dick, and he's so slow, and he's just him on the floor is a negative. I would rather give all of those minutes to the cum bucket.
I was so gonna buy Nemanja Bjelica.
No, you weren't.
Because I like his fit on this team offensively.
No.
Yes, I do. His slow, concrete feet playing next to Draymond, I think works. I think it's fine. Not that he's going to be a great player or earn rotation minutes, but he's going to be a good backup for them. I truly believe that. Now, the question is, does a veteran like Iggy or Avery Bradley keep those rotation minutes because Steve Kerr trusts the veterans? It's a big question with this team. I won't buy him though, just because you know what? I don't want to. You know who I'm gonna buy? I'm gonna buy Andrew Wiggins because Andrew Wiggins is a stud, man. I know that he's an idiot off the court. I get that. I get all that. But he is so good. Like, he doesn't miss games like we talked about. He's very good defensively when he wants to be. And offensively, he had a quietly great offensive year last year.
Yes, he did.
He is, I know that his time in Minnesota wasn't as great as it was supposed to be. All that. That's just kind of what Minnesota does to you. This team is going to contend this year. Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson on the wing is an elite wing pairing. And I think he has a big year this year. And we talk about who's going to handle ball handling situations. I think Andrew Wiggins might emerge not as a primary ball handler on a team, but a secondary ball handler running with a unit with Draymond. I think that's truly where he could shine. I love Andrew Wiggins' game. Idiot off the court. Glad you got vaccinated. But I think he could have another great year. Not an all-star level year because that's a bit much in the West with how many good players there are.
The
but
scoring's never going to be there on this team. That's the problem. There's just not an opportunity for him to score enough to be an all-star.
No, agreed. And I will sell. Man, there's not many people to sell on this team.
Like Juan Toscano Anderson, like I think he's a very good player. I think he had some boneheaded passes a lot of the time. But
do I go bold? Like, I think
just shit on Wiseman.
No,
you know you want to.
Wiseman's my guy. I'm not shitting on him.
Okay.
I think I need to preface this with, I think he'll have a good year.
Oh no.
But people putting Jordan Poole in most improved player is a bit much for me. I think he's going to have I think he's having a good year. But I think Andrew Wiggins will take more of the scoring when Klay's out than Jordan Poole will. So I'll sell on the notion that he's going to be most improved. I think he'll be a very good rotation player for them off the bench once Klay returns. But I'm not fully bought in on the he's going to be
not scoring 20 a night.
No, I think that'll be Wiggins. So I don't think that'll be him. I do like Jordan Poole's game though. It's just very hard with this team to sell anybody, to be honest, because
I know
most of the people like Avery Bradley and Iggy, like I'm already low on.
I have no expectation for it. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the problem. It's who's not going to meet the expectation. It's like,
and yeah, maybe I'll sell Steph because he's not going to make 300 threes this season. No, he probably still will. Not really. Yeah, he's just a freak. Steph is one of my favorite players ever, if you didn't know. So I'm not actually shitting on him. The next team we are going to get into, we're going to finish it off with the LA duo. We're going to start with the LA Clippers, and the Kawhi-less LA Clippers for the majority of the year this year. Let's get into their offseason moves. They had not a big trade in terms of like players, like value, but a big because it's a change. It's a change. Patrick Beverley going to Minnesota. Rajon Rondo is now a Laker, and Daniel Oturu is a Grizzly. They drafted.
Actually, Oturu is not a Grizzly. He was on the Bulls, and then we cut him.
This is lying to me then. So did they trade Oturu to the Grizzlies? He got cut. The Bulls signed him. They cut him. That's what happened. They drafted Keon Johnson 21st. Shout out Retro because that is his boy. Jason Preston. Shout out Ricky. That's Ricky's boy. Brandon Boston Jr. 51st overall, who has become Retro's boy. And
shout out Retro.
Shout out. They acquired Eric Bledsoe in a trade. Some reason, people are liking that. We'll get into that. Nicholas Batum, they re-signed. Kawhi Leonard re-signed, but we're gonna go with the notion he's not gonna play this year. Is what, like, if he does, it's gonna be playoff
regular
time.
Season.
Yeah, it'll be playoff time, and that's we hear that a lot, and it doesn't happen. So if we're talking regular season here, basically. So we're gonna add that he's not gonna be playing. It's gonna be Paul George's team. Reggie Jackson re-signed, and again, the meme, Justice Winslow signed with the Clippers, and nobody seemed to know about it. So,
I did.
I know. Well, of course you did. I think the place to start first is the guard situation. Reggie Jackson re-signing for a cheap deal than what we thought he was going to get after the great postseason that he had, being the second best player on the team behind Paul George after Kawhi went out. And
he was literally up there on the record boards, only behind Steph Curry for 3-point performance in the postseason.
Yeah,
it's insane numbers.
And Eric Bledsoe's on this team now. I think you and I are on the same page with Eric Bledsoe. I don't like Eric Bledsoe. I think he could be okay if he is an off-ball, from time to time shooter and a primary defender. That's it. He could not have a ball handling role. I think he is too poor with the ball in his hands. He doesn't make people around him better. I just don't think it works. Now, the big question is Terence Mann just signed an extension, 2 years, $22 million. Shout out. Brandon Boston Jr. has been playing very well in the preseason. Luke Kennard seems to have a green light in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Where do the guard minutes continuously come from for this team? And do you think Eric Bledsoe gets to play that off-ball role where he doesn't have to handle the ball? Because that's where this team is going to be successful in my mind.
I think that there will be a point guard by committee role on this team. I think it'll be Reggie and then Paul George, and then everybody else is kind of in the air to do whatever the damn well they please.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Eric Bledsoe's not a point guard, not a primary floor general. It's just not his role. It's not what he does best for you. He's shitty Lou Dort at this point in his career. And I mean that's in the most complimentary way possible.
Yeah.
You know, he is someone who can defend still at a pretty good level. He is solid rebounder. He does a little bit of everything okay except shoot the damn ball. The passing is not great, but it's passable. I just think that you're going to see Terence Mann probably get some more ball handling responsibilities. I think that's the guy who, when Reggie's off, I think T-Man will get minutes. I think he'll get opportunities. Justice, they're pushing back to point guard again, which is going to be interesting to see how that happens because he was statistically one of the worst shooters in the NBA last year. In the minutes he got with the Grizzlies, which I was rooting for them. I've been a big fan of his ever since he got drafted, but like that half a season of hope that he gave to Miami fans of point guard Justice Winslow shooting like 36% from three, spacing out the floor, just doing everything. Be like, holy shit, he's little LeBron. That's literally what he was.
Yeah.
For I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
If
he was putting up insane numbers and playing just beyond any expectation you could possibly have for him. Injury happened. He's just not the same player. It's years later now. I think the 3. I think the expectation is maybe he'll be a passable bench point guard who is just a mismatch who can defend pretty well still.
Yeah.
But literally you could play like Ben Simmons style, defense on him and just be like, he's at the 3-point line. Just leave him open for 10 feet. Like, you don't even have to worry about covering that shit. Like, there's just no point in it.
Yeah. I think it was interesting in the preseason. They were one of the lower teams in lowering their 3-point percentage so far in the preseason. 3-point percentage rate in their preseason, so they're taking less threes. I think this is a team that's going to have to thrive off rim pressure. Terence Mann, Paul George, Keon Johnson, if he's going to play, that's what he does. He doesn't do anything else, so he does that.
Yeah.
We're on opposite ends of Keon Johnson because I love him, you hate him. So
I mean, what you said was correct.
Yeah, that is
if
what
there's
he does.
One thing he can do, he can attack the rim.
And Brandon Boston Jr.
Unfortunately, there's not anything else he can do.
Brandon Boston Jr. has been doing that in the preseason as well. I think this team's interesting because the Clippers seem, shout out Jerry West, one of the best front office executives in the league, seems to always draft well. The question is, with no Kawhi this year, Paul George is going to have to take a consistent big role on this team. Like, he is the superstar on this team. He is the leader on this team. He did it in the playoffs last year, first of all. For all the haters that Paul George had, he balled out the entire postseason last year. And I think he deserves some people's respect and get over the fact that his game 7, it was in Oklahoma City or whatever it was, where he played piss poor. I think we can get over that at that point and realize that, maybe it's Russell Westbrook who can't win a title because he hasn't done it time and time again. We'll see if he does it in their next team that we talk about. It's going to be interesting because then you also have guys in this team like Isaiah Hartenstein, Harry Giles at the big man position, Ivica Zubac, and I'm missing somebody. And Serge Ibaka, who's going to be back. Yeah. So
Ibaka's back is back.
Yeah. Those 4
How
guys.
How long will it last?
Yeah, exactly. Those 4 guys for that bench unit. We have talked about Isaiah Hartenstein and Harry Giles before.
On air, though?
Not on air. We've talked off air about them.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that either of them can break the rotation and maybe take some of those?
Fuck yes, they can. I believe in both of these bigs. Hartenstein, as predicted by the man who shall not be mentioned, like, you can't name him on Reddit because he's been banned on Reddit, but he was the biggest fanboy of Nikola Jokic before Nikola Jokic broke out.
Okay.
He then decided that Hartenstein was the next chosen one.
Okay.
Actually, MPJ might have been in between there.
So he's 2 for 2.
Point being, like, he's a prophet of NBA scouting who's just so annoying. He gets banned out of the entire subreddit. So shout out to that. I think that Hartenstein, if he can find a way to not foul 9 times in 8 minutes, could be a pretty good basketball player. He has all the skills. He literally is just a liability, though, because of his fouling. And Harry Giles legitimately looks so good in limited minutes. I'm trying to contain my hype levels because I'm like, be realistic. He's not going to get minutes. He's not going to get actual minutes unless somebody gets hurt. And I would expect them to go very cautious with Ibaka.
Yes.
Back injuries for bigs are always terrifying.
At his age, too.
Yes. What's his age, Jake? What age is he these days?
Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
So, with that said, I think both these guys have a chance to get serious minutes on this team. I think, obviously, they have very different roles as bigs, but both of them have a nice skill set they can bring to the table and help the Clippers. But, yeah, this Clippers team is just, it's a weird, without having Kawhi Leonard, it's just a weird roster. And, like, they should, on paper, have enough talent to still fight for the playoffs.
Oh, they'll be in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think...
I'm not saying they're going to miss. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they're going to be, like, a top 4 seed.
No, they won't be.
I'm going with... And because the West is going to be so tight, I'm expecting them to be...
5 through 8 is where I think I would have them.
Which is weird to say, like, they're a play-in team.
They could be at their low end, but I think they get that 5 or 6. I think that's where I have them around. I'm a believer in Paul George. I've kind of defended him for a little while now.
Yeah.
But I mean, big re-signings. Nicholas Batum and Reggie Jackson, who I keep forgetting that Reggie Jackson is Italian. That is the funniest thing. I keep forgetting that. I think they're such big get-backs. Did you not know that? Did you just...
I did not. I'm like, are you fucking with me right now?
No, he's Italian. Check out his basketball reference page. He's literally Italian.
Shit.
I think it's interesting. I think this team... Okay. I describe them as a smorgasbord, right? Like, they have a lot of players who are very good. Now they have at what they do. Having a guy like Nicholas Batum, having a guy like Reggie Jackson, having a guy like Marcus Morris, like having a guy like Ivica Zubac, like they're all good at their role. You know what I mean? Like they're all very good at their role, and the Clippers seem to always they just find a way to win and find a way to compete. And I think
they're a very gritty team.
I think Tyronn Lue deserves a little bit of credit for what he did for them last year. Yes, I understand that. He seemed to wait until he was down 2-0 last year to decide to make changes, which is a question mark. I don't think he's like a top 5 coach or anything like that, but he did coach them farther than they should have gotten without Kawhi. So I think that's a little bit of credit to them. Shout out to the Clippers medical staff for misdiagnosing Kawhi and almost making him leave LA. Good job with that. I guess we'll just go to the one player you buy and one player you sell for the Clippers.
I mean, I would always buy young talent on teams.
Don't buy the player I'm going to buy. Don't buy it.
Like, look, again, we got to talk about Jordan Poole being potentially most improved player of the year. Terence Mann is, I think, literally the next up candidate for potentially most improved player of the year because of his amazing playoff run, the growth he's shown, the confidence in increasing his shot range. The kid has just so much passion. And also, he's not really a kid, is the other thing. Is like, he is actually kind of nearing his prime athletic time. Like, he's not like 21. So like that's the other thing people kind of like are sleeping on. So I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's going to have the opportunity to step into that secondary role. Like, I hate Maruk so much, but he's just a good player.
Yeah, he's
such a good player. You can't overlook that. But I think that by Christmas we could be saying well, you have Paul George being the 1A, or you have Paul George being the 1. Like, the 2 and 2A are Reggie and T-Man. Yeah. Like, I think it's literally going to be that close.
Okay, that's fair. And sell? Try to get away with it, I know.
I don't want to.
You got to sell somebody. Sell Eric Bledsoe. What the hell?
No, I'm not, because I have very low expectation. I mean,
but
his
some
salary
Laker fans
versus...
don't. Some Laker fans don't.
Wow.
I mean, Clipper fans. Clipper fans Clipper fans think they have high expectations for Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah,
or are you going to sell Ty Lue? Or are you going to sell Ty Lue? You think he turns into Ty Lue?
That's just lazy. I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
That's a no lose situation there. Thank you for giving me that out.
Yeah.
I will take Ty
Lue.
Lue.
I'll buy Brandon Boston Jr. because what I've seen in the preseason, I think he gets rotation minutes by the end of the year. And I will sell Luke Kennard because his contract is damning bad, and I don't think he's ever going to be worth that much money. I know that Retro has told me that Tyronn Lue is pulling him if he doesn't take if he doesn't look for his own shot.
Correct.
I think Luke Kennard is a okay player. The 4 years and $64 million that he got to be not playing for them last year and then randomly appear in the postseason was questionable.
Again, Ty Lue, what are you doing with your rotations? You had Rondo, you had Boogie, you had all these unique pieces when what was working. I should say when what you put on the court wasn't working, and you refused to go to the well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the frustration. Is just like, will he do it? Will he realize what he's got and what he doesn't have, and how long will that take him to get to there? So maybe, maybe not. But yeah.
All right. Last team in this division is the other side of LA, or I guess the same side because they play in the
Same
same
building,
state.
different locker room.
We're almost different. Almost. When did they move out? Do you know? Is it? I know the Clippers. I know they broke ground on their stadium, but I know they're just.
It was like 10 years or 8 years, some shit like that, probably.
So the LA Lakers, probably the biggest offseason in terms of roster turnover and big names, basically. So it's a lot to go over with their moves. They traded Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Washington Wizards. Alex Caruso signed with the Chicago Bulls.
What a mistake.
Markieff Morris to the Miami Heat. Dennis Schroeder to the Boston Celtics. Ben McLemore to the Portland Trailblazers, and Andre, my goddamn backup center, Drummond to the Philadelphia 76ers. They did not have anything in the draft. They traded, if you didn't hear, for Russell Westbrook.
What?
And in free agency, they signed Trevor Ariza, Dwight Howard, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, Kendrick Nunn, Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk, Rajon Rondo, and re-signed Talen Horton-Tucker. Wow, that was a lot. Free agency, they like
average player age 38.
I think it's actually like 36. I think it was something like that. So, I think we both have a boy that signed with this team.
Yeah.
So you have the moist one.
I
you
do.
have Malik Monk.
I'm a believer in.
I have Melo. Melo.
Okay.
Melo. If a little trip down memory road here. If anybody didn't know down there, Melo was the reason I fell in love with basketball. Hoodie Melo back in Denver with the cornrows. I still have somewhere back there. It's the dark blue with the Nuggets, like the yellow letters with the blue lettering around it with 15 and Anthony on the back. Love George Karl and J.R. Smith and the Nuggets back in the day. They should have won a ring. That's just still the most disappointing thing. But it's so simple for this team, right? It is championship or bust.
100%.
Yeah.
It's such a straightforward answer because of the age of all of these players, the experience of all of these players. And honestly, like, the legacy of a handful of them is still, yet to be finished. So we're looking, like you're saying, Carmelo Anthony, one of the greatest all-time scorers, and someone who has not been able to get over a hump in the playoffs. He'll have the opportunity now. I think the fact that he was able to revive his career in Portland was one of the coolest things we've ever seen. As a basketball fan for a long time, watching someone get traded, waived that many times, I can only imagine what he's going through mentally at that point. And it's just like why the fuck, like, why am I even here still kind of thing. But I'm really happy for him that he's back, he's playing, he's still taking shots, he's still jab stepping like a motherfucker out there.
The head fake 4 times just to shoot it right over top of him.
Absolutely. There's just something fun about that. But low key, like, the two biggest adds were Monk and Nunn. They added youth to this team. For all the age that they added, the two biggest pieces in my mind are Monk and Nunn. The two guys who are going to be coming off the bench eating major minutes because this is a team in the regular season who's going to have a lot of rest days for a lot of their players. And I think that both of these guys were on teams that, obviously, Monk's situation was his coach hated him and then ignored him. And then at the end, they realized he was pretty good, but it was too late. So they're like, fuck it, we're just done with you. And Nunn, someone who obviously # off the court had some issues leading up to his NBA career. But since he's been in the NBA, he's been a very impressive player. And I think that outside of the COVID situation, he probably would have been, much higher, much more highly recruited, I guess, amongst other teams in free agency. But he kind of slid under the radar. So I think that both these guys have a lot to prove, and they both will have opportunities to do so. So I'm super excited for their youth movement, but, like, this is literally just going to be the shit show of watching Russell Westbrook be Russell Westbrook. First half of the season, he is going to be one of the worst players in the NBA. It's going to be super fun to watch. And then the second half, he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA because that's what he fucking does every year, like goddamn clockwork.
Every year.
And people just etch a sketch minds, and they're like, "Oh my god, look how terrible he is." Like, do you not remember how Russell Westbrook works? Like, he takes a long time to get going, but then he will drag your sorry bitch ass team with no fucking talent to the playoffs. Washington, have some goddamn respect for the man.
And then just get bullied by no Embiid Sixers in the first round.
Doesn't matter. Got to the playoffs. Oh, that's the point. Is like okay. Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest floor raisers in the NBA.
Wow. Yeah, he is. It's so funny talking about his teammate. Good transition there. Who's the opposite of a floor raiser because he never could do it in New Orleans until he had two guards that basically just locked up Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is apparently going to play center minutes this year, which I don't buy. Can we talk? First of all, wow, your 7-footer's probably gonna play center now because he's not being, sorry for the language, a bitch anymore.
He's been bullied into it.
But the problem is I don't think he closes at center because I think Dwight probably plays big minutes on this team, just like he did 2 years ago for the championship team, who played next to Anthony Davis. I don't really like a lineup. I'm trying to think in my head. Obviously, the 4 easy people to put in there are Russ, LeBron, AD, and Dwight. You need
That's a big fucking lineup.
Yeah, and you put a shooter next to him. You put Monk next to him. Like Monk, maybe, I don't know. Or, oh no, dude, they're gonna put Melo out there. They're gonna run that.
Melo is not a closer.
Yeah, you say he's not a closer, but they're gonna use him as a closer.
Melo's not closing. Please don't do this to me.
Yeah, exactly. You say he's he's not.
The right answer is Wayne Ellington.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah,
but you're right. They could use Nunn. They could use Monk.
Or Reza
would try the corpse of Trevor.
Well, I do say that
the corpse of Trevor Reza
and Taylor Horton Tucker will miss time to start the season. I believe they are both hurt. And the thing we'll touch on real quick with them is, I just think they're the only team we're going to talk about this really is their 2-way contracts are a little bit interesting. Sekou Doumbouya and Joel Ayayi. Joel Ayayi I thought was a very good undrafted free agent signing by them. I thought that he probably not this year because how many guards they have, but with how many rest days they're going to have for their players, maybe he does come into the rotation for a game, 3 games throughout the year or something and plays.
He'll use his 12 games up.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Sekou, no. I really just wanted to touch on Joel Ayayi because I think he deserves some credit on this team.
And I mean, the fact that we haven't mentioned it at all, but Rajon Rondo, the mentor, the second head coach.
Yeah.
Third head coach now, technically. Because you got LeBron James out there, too. Like,
yeah.
They have
fourth,
so
really,
much.
Russ, too. Yeah. Russ coaches. He yells at people. Floor raises are coaches. I swear. That's what I'll stand by.
No, you're not wrong because it was so funny. And again, I'm not here just to shit on Washington, but Scott Brooks was the dumbest coach in NBA history, so I have to bring it up. The fact that when he went there after the trade, he was like, he played there for like a week. He's like, so do you know what your role is on this team? And literally no one on this team could answer that question. And he's like, all right, let's round table here. When you're on the court, your job is to X.
Do this.
And like literally had to spell it out for the team because their head coach hadn't fucking figured that out yet. Didn't figure it out. Don't think he ever planned to figure it out. Like, you're right. Russell Westbrook is a coach. Rondo is a coach. Bron's a coach. This is going to be an interesting group, and they're going to make headlines for it. I'm 100% excited to listen to the sports media, cycle. Just 24/7 Lakers because they just have all the drama.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Is there a point that you want to touch on with this team? Because I don't think there's much like this team is championship or bust. LeBron's going to play more off ball this year because Russ is coming in and Rondo's there and all that. We know all that. Is there any point that you want to touch on before we move on?
No, I emphasize my 2 guys out the gates. It's Monk, it's Nunn. They're the guys who are going to be the difference makers during the regular season. They're going to be the ones who are going to see what seed they end up with, I believe. THT, I preached that man's name coming into the draft, going out of the draft for 2 years now. The Lakers fans have pumped him up so goddamn high. I don't know what realistic expectations are for him anymore.
Yeah.
I really, I don't.
Just like the Bulls typing up Alex Caruso, like the Lakers fans did.
Yeah, we ended up with a carryover from him, and Alex Caruso is the fucking GOAT now, and it's like, all right, I guess we're living it.
He's poor man TJ McConnell. That'll do it. Oh, actually, no, that'll not do it because we need to buy one and sell one. Buy one and sell one for the Lakers. I'll go first because you didn't. I'm stealing yours. I'm buying Malik Monk. I love Malik Monk for this team. I think he's just fantastic. I'm going to sell Dwight Howard because what I saw from him last year in Philly, the flagrants and the technicals and the consistency of being in foul trouble, and I love Dwight is amazing off the court. On the court, he's incredibly infuriating.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I will buy Brody. Give me that Bestbrook.
Yeah.
Give me that Bestbrook. I've been a huge advocate. And I'll still Kent Bazemore. I think that they were looking.
Yeah.
I think they were looking for him to play heavy minutes. I'll be honest, at the
Yeah.
wing. Like I think that they're gonna be. Reeves is gonna get minutes this year. Let's put it that way.
I agree.
That's a problem when you're gonna be kind on a rookie play. I'm seriously talking like 10 minutes a night for you.
Yeah.
I think that Blaze Moore is gonna be done like toast. So.
All right. That'll do it for this division. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you did, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, hit that like button if you want to get notified. Again, nobody will know that joke unless they have watched past videos. Shout out, Ricky. If you want to get notified every time we do post a video or go live, because there will be live stream podcasts throughout the year from Dave and I. You know, some stuff might happen, or we just might want to talk a couple games after they happen the next day, and we'll just hit that go live button. But again, hit that down below. Patreon down below. Channel memberships, and our Discord, which has already been popping during the preseason. Check that all down below. Thank you guys for watching once again, and I hope everybody has a great day.